We're still alive, dude.
We're still alive. Amazing. Even after however many episodes.
Yeah, we don't know where this episode is airing, but we are at least still alive. Hopefully this isn't like got a special tag on the end. If you want to donate to the Memorial Fund or whatever.
Welcome to Staying Alive. I'm your host, Adam Pally.
I'm also your host, Johnny G, Jon Gabrus.
Today we have one of our longtime favorites.
I've had like 9 relationships with this guy over the years. Like friend, mentor, frenemy, guy I was afraid of, guy I bullied.
Guy who bullied me.
Yeah.
But most importantly, one of the funniest and kindest people.
And one of the first people I ever really saw out of my friend group pushing like mental health stuff and talking about it a lot. So
and again, that goes back to him just being just a good egg. With us today is the great Chris Gethard, and we'll be talking to him about how he's staying alive, about how comedy keeps him alive. And
what we learned doing improv at the same place and how we brought those lessons into IRL, into non-comedy ventures and whatnot.
And it's such a fun thing to get to sit with someone who you've known in so many different capacities and find out like how they're doing now.
Well, it's pretty wild to be like, you normally talk to someone, in my 20s, it was like this. But we've known him since his 20s, our 30s, our 40s.
Yeah, we've known him through many presidents.
Yes.
And now through our favorite king.
Our God King, Emperor, Xerxes, Trump. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Please don't cancel our podcast with an executive order. I don't want them staying alive anymore.
Podcasts are now specifically produced in Austin.
I like my podcasters to be dead. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Gethard. Well, Geth, thank you so much for being here.
It's rare that we get to talk about aging and getting old and staying alive with someone we've now known for 20 years.
Yeah.
And have seen you change over the years and what that means for us how we become different in our 40s versus our 20s. But we start every conversation with this question. Chris Gethard, what are you doing to stay alive?
Ooh, well, as you guys know, with me, it has sometimes been a struggle to want to. There's a lot of, I would
feel
say,
you.
For me, a lot of it is working on the mental health.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
And then understanding that, begrudgingly admitting that some of that is also tied to the physical health.
That has been, I think, my biggest lesson of my late 30s, early 40s so far, is that you hear those people who are like, my brain does not work unless I go for a run. And you're like, what the fuck are you? And then you start getting into a pattern of exercise and you're like, I am happier.
Yeah.
I am, right. Let me rephrase that. I am less sad.
Are you familiar with that meme, or is it a meme? I don't know so old, but like where it's like women go to therapy and men start exercising. Have you seen that? Like, do you think that is maybe some part of it as well? That like men are so neglectful of their own, like
instead of going to a therapist, we do like back and buys.
Yeah, and like sometimes it's like you really, again, we talk about balance all the time. Is like when you're feeling your best and you're staying alive and you're like feeling like, oh, I'm clicking. It's when you're doing both the mental to feed the physical, the physical to feed the mental.
I know too, for me, everybody always was like, especially for us, like we were part of a culture where we all knew each other in our 20s and we would stay up all night. Everybody's out like drinking and eating at 2 a.m., which just sounds insane to me now. The amount of nights a week I used to eat meals after midnight, like
and you'd be like, well, if I'm coaching and then I'm going to do a show, I'm not going to get out till 11, but I don't want to eat before I'm on stage. I don't want to eat while I'm coaching.
So I'll sit down and have a full Steakums dinner at McManus at 1 a.m.
I'll have a knockwurst with cheese and bacon melted onto it at literally 1 a.m. multiple nights a week.
Yeah.
That's so outlandish to me now.
That is one of the questions we always ask is, what is something you used to do that you can't, like, that is one of them. I ate after midnight and went to sleep at like 12:40. And
it's like gremlins.
Dude, I was like speaking the food out of my mouth. Like it was just like, I opened my mouth and I'm like, wow, weird. Tastes exactly like eggplant parm.
I lived above a Gray's papaya. So there would be nights where I'd be at McManus eating like getting hammered and eating, and then walk home, and everyone would go to the train or whatever, and I'd get alone right when I hit 23rd Street. I'd get alone, and I'd hit that Gray's Papaya again because I'd be like, well, I'm walking home.
I lived in Jackson Heights, which you get off the train and you walk down Roosevelt
Oh my
Avenue
God,
on
it's
weekend
like
night.
everything
You
you
have to
want.
pass 1,000
Food carts. But where you're like, you know, like every 6 months there's some article where they'll ask like the chef at Per Se, what's
Yeah.
your favorite thing to eat? And he'll be like, I get this one type of corn pancake
Oh
from
my
a food
God.
cart in Jackson Heights.
and you're walking past it.
All of them every night on my way home.
And that becomes good because you're like, well, it's inexpensive and quick, and I can
Yeah.
go do the rest of my day without stopping.
Yep.
Which is like,
The amount, that's the other thing I think of now. When I lived in New York, the amount of meals I had while physically walking from one
yeah,
place to
a
another, the
moving
amount of
meal?
days that I never actually sat down to eat is insane
Yeah,
to
I'd
think
be like,
about.
I'll eat a slice on the walk to coaching. After that, I can grab a
sandwich.
shawarma, and
Yeah.
I can walk and eat that. This I could eat on the F train. Hopefully, I could sit. Nope, I guess I'm standing.
eating a wrap, shoving a
Everyone
fucking-
hates me. I'm farting. With
You're
my
opening up
headphones
an
on.
egg salad bagel. Yeah, I know. It was wild. And Geth, so let's talk about a little and tell me if like we're off something you don't want to talk about. But so you were always sober to me. I never knew you not
Yeah, I
sober.
stopped drinking when I was 21. I had a few very bad incidents. One of them at McManus, where I was there with Shannon O'Neill. None of you will be surprised.
Okay, yeah.
John Ross Bowie,
Yeah.
a mentor of mine before he moved to LA.
This is all holding true.
And-
Bowie sober now too, though.
Yeah. And I was drinking. I was still in college, and I was going pretty hard. And what they didn't know was that my dad had just been let go from his job.
Ooh.
And one of them made a joke that was very innocuous, like two people who really loved me, like a lot of love. And one of them made a joke that pushed a button that made me think of my dad, and I lost it. And then I just kept drinking on top of it and wound up. I'll say a sentence that you both will react to viscerally, and listeners will have no idea. Wound up literally face down on the McManus men's room floor. It was right before Halloween, and I went outside and started vomiting on 7th Ave, and a homeless man in a clown wig started like running up and yelling at me.
Oh no.
And Shannon had to pull me away because I started yelling like, "You did this to me! You're Satan! Satan's in a clown wig!" And the homeless guy got scared and
He's like, hey, brother, you're going through something, obviously. I'm
threw you
sorry.
$1?
I was like crying and vomiting, and I remember Shannon telling me that he was getting away from me, and I kept yelling, "Roy G. Biv, motherfucker!" at his rainbow wig.
The rainbow wig.
His rainbow wig.
Red, orange, yellow.
He's like,
yeah.
blue, indigo.
I don't know how to take that.
And that was, I came from a family of drinkers. My immediate family, my parents never kept alcohol in the house. And a large part of that was because my mom's family was so beyond the pale, riddled with alcoholism when she grew up, to the point where she has not even really told me even a tip of the iceberg of the stories. I've asked her, like, I find it interesting, but I think
She's like, you're going to put this in your one-man show?
Yeah,
I think there is
guarded
some
about it.
part of her that's like, I
Here
can't.
we go.
Here,
You
yeah.
know nothing, Chris.
All
You'll
right,
never know
Christopher.
anything.
All right. But the stories I do know are like, I do know that on one of their first dates, my dad knocked on the door, and my grandfather opened the door and tried to fight my dad on the front lawn of their house. Like
He
shit
was
like
just like,
that.
oh my God.
Hammered in the afternoon when he was picking her. Like things like that you're like, those are the ones I've heard. And my mom's like, I'm not telling you the ones that aren't
Yeah.
funny on something.
There's two
Right.
ways you go there, because
Yeah.
I grew up in a very similar ancestry.
Go
but
all
I learned,
in.
but I was like, well, that's how you're supposed to be. And I started drinking
Yeah.
at 13 and was drinking like all the time and getting that level of fucked up where if you're charming enough, people don't think that you have a problem
Yeah.
yet, And then
I
now in
went the other
hindsight,
way.
I'm like 25, asleep on the L train, missing my stop both directions.
Yeah, it's
I'm like, you can't be doing that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have all of my worldly possessions in my backpack, just sitting there dead asleep, hammered. Like if I'd have to like move home if someone took my bag that had a laptop and an iPod in it.
I had seen enough of it in my family and had someone very close to me who was in the thick of it back then. And then it was also, I look back and one of the ways that stumbling into the arts saved my life was I was like, that was a night where a bunch of people I really admired Like this was not in New Brunswick where I went to college anymore.
Right.
This
These
was
were
not
big
my
shots.
These were not
Yeah.
my roommates dealing with me. These were people I really, really respected, and I wanted them to
And
like
two
me.
funny people. It's
Colleagues.
Yeah, and I was 21, and I knew I was like, when I drink, I knew which relative. I was like, when I drink too much, I start acting like blank, and I could fill in the name of a relative who I knew very, very clearly. And I was
But
like,
there are a cautionary tale in your mind.
yeah, and I'm
you're
like, and you know, not to put him on a pedestal too much, but when I was 21, I was like, I don't want John Bowie to see me like that.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't want him to see me like
Now
that.
you're like, fuck it. You can see me, Big Bang Theory, see me however you want. No, but I hear you.
Speechless for me.
I hear you. I mean, I think for me, I've been through so many stages of like, never sobriety, but so many stages of just like figuring it out and trying to balance, you know.
Yeah.
My grandfather drank and I thought it was cool. And then I just started drinking in college, like, you know, and then I started getting like,
went to Arizona State.
then I
You
started
had
getting like
to.
fucked up in college. University of Arizona. It's like
sorry.
even worse, further away from an airport. Like you're fucking like, you get fucked
More
up.
in the desert.
You get fucked up in Tucson. And like, you know, and I started with drugs and everything, which are the best. And like that, you know, you just kind of are always looking for balance because you don't want to be one thing or the other. And when I found UCB, I feel like it was one of the first times, especially here in New York, where we were starting, I was like, I don't want these people to see me in any other way than someone who is like the funniest.
Funny and hardworking.
Yeah, it's like I want them to see me like, and so the thought of like, oh, I'm gonna get drugs or oh, I'm gonna get wasted, that didn't come in until I had mastered it.
Yeah.
You know, and then I had to feel another.
But then
Because there's
then
a party culture at UCB
I
at the
was gonna
time, but
say-
it was really kind of like theater party culture.
wasn't
But
that
it went
hard.
in waves though, like where it would. We can be honest at this point because it's all in the like now
Yeah.
it's new corporate ownership and
Yeah.
it's a new
Yeah.
face.
Yeah, it's an accredited
But
university.
it would be like a lot of nerds and a lot of drinking, and then every 4 years it would be like everyone is doing Molly twice a week. All
Yeah.
of a sudden,
I mean,
you know,
yes.
like there'd be these
pot
out of
cookies.
Pot
oh the
cookies.
pot cookie
Yeah.
wave.
Shout
There'd
out
be
John Flynn. I wrote a book about it. So
No,
I
you're
feel
fine. You're
comfortable.
fine.
a handful of cocaine waves,
Yeah.
but where
Yeah.
you go like, oh, the whole
I'd ride those waves pretty hard.
There's
Like,
I remember Shroom Wave.
Shroom
which
Wave,
I was,
yeah,
I was a big fan of that.
See, now I would say I never moderation. I walked a strange line in my life because I very much anytime I have fallen off the wagon, which has been very, very rare, a couple times during that Molly wave where I had friends who were like, Molly's the most chill drug. And then they realized, I did it at Bonnaroo with a bunch of friends of mine, and they realized I started buying all the Molly I could find and just eating
Right, you
it
just
back.
can't. You
I was
can't.
like straight up.
Yeah.
And like, when I tell you that my whole life got dangerously fucked up for a summer, and I look back and go, oh, because I didn't know research on how this drug worked. I had friends telling me like, dude, you're as high as you're gonna get. Save it for another
chill
time.
out, dude.
Like at this point, you're just eating chemicals. Like it's not gonna give you
you're
anything
topped
else.
off. Yeah, your
And then
receptors are
Yeah.
full.
Exactly. And like, so moderation's never been my thing, but one of the weird things in thinking about staying alive is like, even my positive habits, I sort of had to train myself to go like, okay, I have some addictive tendencies or obsessive tendencies, and I am at my best when I point them in a healthy direction.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to conquer them or pretend they're not there.
Yes,
Which
like
is maybe
what
a
an
failing
Like
of
harness your
you know?
OCD as
Yeah.
a power. Like
Yeah.
where if you're going to get obsessed
Yeah.
over something, it's like, maybe I should be obsessed with hiking rather than
But even that,
Molly.
I think that there's like what you just said is really insightful, Chris, because I think as someone who shares that obsessive gene, that's one of the hardest things for me is that when I get into something, when I like something, it's like you said, like buy up all the Molly you can, take it all right then because you want to experience it. Like, so the hardest thing to manage is that need to go all the way with something all the time.
Yeah.
To be so obsessed in everything that you're doing all the time that you're like, oh no, I'm involved in it. And it's like,
yeah, even healthy shit when you're like obsessed with it and then you like miss a day and you're like, I'm not doing 6 days a week of this.
Yes,
and all of a sudden you're like,
the anxiety with that.
yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like punishing yourself, even though 6 days of something is more than you've ever done in the past. But like,
Which leads me to a good question, Chris, which is one of the things that you were doing on your health unhealthy side. I know a long
I feel
time
like I
ago.
was just about to bring up the same thing.
Yeah, because you found Muay Thai, right?
It was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
But this
We
was,
found
I dragged you into
Yeah,
it. And
I was there for-
Dude, you don't know these stories?
I feel like I might have been like ignoring your side interest in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at this point.
You might have, because it was very early on in my, because we all got into it.
2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was I do
Like
want to say
five guys without health insurance
it
started
was,
doing
a
Brazilian
bad, it was a
Jiu-Jitsu.
really bad idea.
Yeah, terrible idea.
But it was
Dominic Dirkus broke his hand doing sambo.
oh yeah, like almost tore his pinky off his hand.
Oh
It was
my
disgusting.
God.
But it was to be clear too, I want to be clear because a lot of people hear jiu-jitsu now might be rolling their eyes because it's become a huge part of the culture. Also, like very bro-y, like the best competitors in the world do steroids and just admit it now, and like ties into a sort of crypto bro-y thing
It's
now.
weirdly very podcast host
Yeah,
heavy.
yeah, and
Mark Zuckerberg.
yes,
Right,
but
okay,
In
yes,
2006, I would say it was still pretty underground, strange thing that you had to seek out. And I had started obsessively watching. This was before the UFC had blown up in America. I had started watching this really intense Japanese fight league called Pride that had almost no rules, and I became obsessed with it.
Is that like one of the videos where like the giant guy in the little
A 7-foot man fighting like a
Yes.
140
Okay,
pound
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
That's the Van Damme film Bloodsport.
Oh, sorry.
It's the closest to real
But
life.
it is trying to be
that-
Bloodsport.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I mean, even the OG UFC of the late 90s, that before it was MMA, was like Tank Abbott, a bouncer, versus Frank Shamrock, a karate master.
Yeah.
Right,
And it would
okay.
be like a guy would have like sneakers on. It's like, since he's
Yeah.
wearing sneakers, he's not allowed to kick.
Like guys wearing Zubaz pants.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Well, the dude you're fighting has jean shorts and a tank top on. You're like, I think I'm dead.
I was super into it, and one of the best fighters from Pride was a guy named Sakuraba, who was known as the Gracie Hunter, because he kept beating members of the Gracie family when they were viewed as unbeatable. And the best fight was Renzo Gracie versus Sakuraba. It's incredible. And then when we were on the UCB had their offices on 30th Street, and I worked there. My day job was through UCB, and I found out, Renzo Gracie has a gym, and it's a half a block away.
And the Gracie family is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu royalty.
They invented
They're like-
it.
Yeah.
And Eli Newell and I both worked there. I was like, Eli, come check out this thing with me. And we were just going to like duck our heads in and be like, is it real that there's these MMA fighters training like right across 7th Ave from us? And before he and I exited, we both signed up. And very quickly we convinced Dom Dirkus, Gabrus, and Jesse Falcon to all do it too within a few months.
Sounds like a bunch of obsessive dudes.
It was
like
wild.
5 of the most obsessive
Dude,
dudes.
Because
Pally, when I tell you, so I did it for the longest. Me and Dominic, the two smallest guys, lasted the longest because you big fuckers kept getting hurt because you were maniacs.
Right.
Well, my issue, and I've told this story before, but my issue with that was like, oh, you weigh 250 pounds? Here's the other guy in the class who's 250 pounds.
Right,
and
be the
he's
Rock.
6'4", shredded. And this dude pins my wrist down, and I tap, and he's like, you're not even in a move. I'm like, I couldn't breathe with
You're
your
like,
chest
oh, I
on my
got tired, I got
face.
tired.
This was also a culture so small, though, Adam, that when I tell you, like, we would be white belts in a class where, like, there was one day where I looked him in a class and George St. Pierre was taking the same class as me.
It was like a legend.
Matt Serra was the welterweight champ at the time. He'd be taking the class.
Right.
Long
Like,
Island royalty.
Rashad Evans, like actual UFC fighters are in the class.
And is part of you there like
I loved it. I still do it.
I know is part of you there and the question is not, you know, it's like when you sign up, are you like, this is a good way to exercise? This is a good way to like, or is it more like, whoa, this is cool.
This is cool.
like
And also you guys-
skateboarding or like
You guys know me well enough to know now. I kind of feel like my reputation as I came up from the underground became like, here's this nice guy who talks about his feelings a lot. But you guys knew me when I was younger, and my reputation was like, he's a nice guy and he's getting in touch with his feelings. And everybody at UCB was watching me become this really honest guy. But also people were like, he's kind of an unpredictable mess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
and
don't know
always
if-
has a fucking weird
I was gonna say,
story.
I don't remember nice guy being the
People,
nice-
I have told people that they used to view me as a little bit of a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I would say unpredictable.
I physically fought you
Multiple times.
so many times before we started taking Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, where we would fight in the hot chicks room or in the back room.
Unpredictable.
a lot.
We would have,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but every everybody from that era that we came up with was unpredictable.
I had,
you know?
to be frank though, I had what would later be diagnosed mental illness.
Right.
And I was still in the phase where I was pretty aware of that, but I was romanticizing that. So that meant sometimes stay up all night or be like, hey, everybody, I rented a bus and we're going to do a show that takes place in New Jersey. And now it's me and a bunch of kids on a bus, which is like an artistic project, but it's also reflective of like some...
Well, everything's reflective, right?
Yeah, right.
Like,
It's a mania.
every
the
art
jiu-jitsu is an extension of that. I thought it was funny. I thought it was cool. And I also... There's a few things about it. Like, I really loved, and to a degree still love, but have maybe let the ego go a little bit. I did love doing things that were out of character. I've always been small. I've always been nerdy. I am a physically weak person, but I also, again, not blowing smoke, not trying to sound tough. Like, I grew up in a way where I had to learn how to fight. And like physically fight. I saw shit going down. My brother was 3 grades ahead of me and got horrifically bullied. And my dad's perspective, I remember once
You
hearing...
just like look in the mirror and go, I better learn how to fight.
Dude, and I remember once my brother got beat up, and my mom actually was just joking about this the other day because I'm dealing with the fact that my kid's in school now, so I'm trying to figure out how to talk to him about bullying shit. And my dad once told my brother, my dad's like, why didn't you fight back? My brother goes, I don't know how. My dad goes, pick up a rock and bash in their skull. And you guys knew me in a phase where like...
Yeah, that was potential.
That was potential.
That was the, like, I wasn't going to go and murder someone, but no one who knew me in my 20s would be shocked that my dad was saying shit like that.
No.
Like, I was an angry guy at times and emotional. And jiu-jitsu was a thing that I quickly found probably signed up to be funny, to show that it was out of character. But there were 2 things I wound up loving about it that keep me kind of dabbling in it today. Not like I used to. It used to be 4 times a week. But there's 2 things, which is one, I think for people who have some mania or some workaholism, some ADHD, whatever it is, running on an elliptical, can't do it. I'm still thinking. Yeah. I'm thinking about my to-do list. I'm thinking about work. When there is legit a 26-year-old kid who's on steroids, and you know it, who's covered in prison tattoos. And I'm not exaggerating. Jon can tell you, these are real people that we would go fight in a basement on 30th Street.
You would get choked out by them one week, and the next week, a young woman would choke you out.
Yes.
But then you took a class.
Well, that cost me extra.
Then you went to the other basement on 30th Street. You signed up for jiu-jitsu.
Unfortunately, that was at UCB.
Yeah. So there were 2 things about it. It was one, I'm like, you would finish those classes and I would be sweating so hard that it looked like I just took a shower in my clothes.
Yes.
Because
your gi would stink in one day.
This is not like grab a dumbbell and go like this. Like, there's a chess match happening, and if you lose the chess match, someone chokes you potentially to death. Like, you feel like you're dying every time.
Have you ever, and I don't mean this is like a psychological challenge in any way, but have you ever thought about the need to be pushed to that limit?
Yeah.
Because that is something like a lot of people who stay alive, they're like, I'm doing this for the potential of being pushed to that limit. You know what I mean? Like,
I've thought about it a lot.
Why do you need to have that moment in the now?
Well, there's a few things, which is one, some of it's clearly rooted in I have a lot of anger in me historically, and it's good to put it here instead of other areas of my life.
Of course.
Shouting at someone on the bus.
Which is something that only the 2, again, going back to what you said before, is like the mental and the physical. That's something that you get. That's work you put in on the mental side.
Because I'm also someone who back then, like, if I knocked index cards off my desk, my girlfriend would hear me going like, I'm a fucking idiot. I should be dead. And she'd be like, what? I'd be like, I got to clean up these index cards is what I meant to say.
I'm anti-gun because if I spill my coffee, there's a chance I can grab the gun and blow my head off. I'll go full Manchester by the Sea.
I live in the woods now, and like,
no one will hear that.
Well,
you are a dad.
I have, you know, not to get too deep into it, I've had a couple stalkers in my life because I've done some very cult work.
Of course.
And a friend of mine was like, hey man, you live in the middle of nowhere, you should get a gun now. And I instantly was like, no, I'll kill myself. And we started laughing because it's true. Like I will kill myself.
Most people that is like statistically what happens.
Yeah.
Like,
And me?
guns and all.
Yeah.
Me, I'm out.
I haven't, like, we don't hang out or talk that much, but if I had heard you got a gun, I would reach out.
Oh yeah. Like we haven't talked in years.
Gethard, I hope this isn't weird,
thing
man.
to hear. How did you hear about that?
If everybody in LA starts hearing I got a gun, something's
How
going
did
on.
you hear about that? It fell out of his pants on Pally's podcast.
John Ross Bowie, get on the plane. We're going to save Gethard
And you know
again.
he would. You know he would. It's my boy. But you know what else I think about a lot that was very good about jiu-jitsu for me was when I realized like I'm never going to be great at this. I actually think back to that era of my life, and I think a lot of people would be well served to do something that reminds them that you're not the fucking shit.
Oh,
Dude.
If I'm being honest. And
100.
like we all came from a culture where, let's be honest, we're not being cocky because we put in the work and it was competitive as hell. But each of us had a phase at UCB where people were like, that's the fucking,
we were big
that's
dogs.
the
We
shit.
did-
like,
we did well,
We all
yeah.
remember coming into the spotlight as big dogs.
Yeah.
And I love being humbled.
Yeah.
And
Bro,
not everybody does. And we can see, I think some of our friends who we won't name names, but like, there's some people we know who fell into bad, dark times, either through substances or where some people who we all know went and got famous and became like you saw actual mental damage and stress on them.
Right.
And I think some of that is when you're told you're the shit over and over again, it's kind of on you to go find an area of life where that will never be true.
Well, I think I took an improv break for a very long time, like 5 years or so, where I just like couldn't get on stage.
Sounds amazing.
Well, I was scared of it, like because I just had stopped for a little, and then I did a show where I was not in rhythm, like I hadn't done it in a while, and I just became like, you know, all those things. You're like, maybe this isn't for me anymore. Maybe I'm not good. But in order to be good, you just have to do it. You know, you just like, that's the only thing
But
to
you're
do.
also at a place now where you've been on TV and people are so excited you're there.
Yeah.
But I know you well enough to know that you're like, I don't want to just be like the guy who waves. I want to be fucking good.
Yeah, I want to be the best. I want to be in those scenes. I want to be good at it. And I think that improv is like an equalizer in that way. It's interesting you say that because even though you are one of the best that I've ever seen in, and if we were like, you are one of the best at it, it's humbling because it's
You
the
can
one
still have
you
bad
can
shows.
still
You can
even
still
a
have bad
scene,
shows, but
even a line.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember having killer scenes and doing one bad line and you're fucking on that line the whole time and you're running through it and you're humbled. And it's like, I think sometimes about people who are doing shows that are just where it's set up for success and it's not that general improv. It's not wide open, you know what I mean? And I look at people who still do it wide open like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's brave. That is really brave to like go out and keep doing because you are humbled constantly.
But see, I will say, and again, I don't, who wants to get inside baseball about UCB too much, but at least in New York, and I think now that it's back, I get the sense that they're on top of this more, but I really didn't like, I know that I'm a crazy person, but I sort of felt like it hit a point for a lot of people where it was like, cool, I'm on one of the weekend teams now. Now I never need to get notes again.
Yeah.
Now I never need to be held accountable again. And that's just not who I am.
And those shows are set up for you to succeed. Like those
very
weekend
much
shows,
so.
like to just to let the audience in on that. Like, yes, those shows are improvised, but they are set up in a way so that you will have a great show every week.
And you have a great house, and it's not improv nerd.
You don't need
Right.
to go. You don't need to beg people to come in. It's just the fact that it's a Friday night.
You're
there,
interviewing
they're
the
gonna come,
audience, which is like a shortcut to success.
and sort of lazy. And
Yes, it's like.
And I know I was always pretentious as a teacher. Like again, inside baseball, I sort of coached and taught your guys' generation. I was probably coaching early in your generation.
Yeah.
You're big on flan.
I've coached your group, like the best group I ever coached was John's group. But I was always, I don't know, and I'm not trying to be pretentious or say other people are wrong, but I was just like, man, I don't know. Like, I hate myself. I grew up Irish Catholic. I need someone to tell me what I'm doing wrong and what I can be doing better, or else this isn't totally giving me the dopamine that I need.
Right.
But something like jiu-jitsu where it's like, oh, right, I'm never going to be invited to a tier of respect with this that I can coast. You can never coast at this. So
Yeah, even black belts can't coast. You know what I mean? It just doesn't happen because you just want to keep
And if they can, they go and find
thing.
It's always one of the cliche things in jiu-jitsu is a lot of people are like, you work for 10, 12, 15 years, then you get a black belt. And then you start learning jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Well, yoga is, I was into Bikram yoga for a long
after you
time.
saw the doc.
Mostly after, because I just saw how easy it was to get your hands on people. Like,
yes, you had not participated in enough pyramid schemes in your life.
No, and I was like, one more. I was like, I should give my money to one
I'm
more.
playing volleyball at night with Nexium. I'm doing Bikram during the day, and I got Thursday night cage
No, but my
match
dad,
run.
me and my dad, especially my dad being like a health nut, was like really on Bikram early on because of what you're saying. Like an hour and a half in a sweatbox like that is pushed to your limit. Like those real Bikram classes were, looking back on it now, like not.
Well, you get like the serotonin release of surviving.
Exactly.
Which is like a step, which I feel like you get with jiu-jitsu when you don't get choked out and die. Afterwards, you're like, I worked really hard and I didn't
But
die.
you walked right up to that.
You were pushed, which is what you like, pushed to the precipice of survival in the now.
But I'm not somebody who wants to go rock climbing. I don't even like roller coasters. Like, I don't like heights. But I do think, I wouldn't have been able to articulate this then, but I just think that everybody needs to be responsible for staying balanced on some level. And it's like we were part of an adrenaline, dopamine, praise-based culture where you could become a bigger and bigger fish in this small pond and then eventually bust out beyond that small pond. And to me, I was just, I don't know, like I just really got so much out of like, that's great. I had a great show on Friday. I had a great show on Sunday. My student, the classes I'm teaching are selling out. But I also have a fucking black eye right now and my shoulders popped out of the socket. And to me, that is healthy.
Hard work.
That's healthy both physically and mentally.
There's a part of me, and like I think this is something I say about myself, but I think you could attest to this. My superpower is I'm okay at being bad at something if I enjoy it. So I don't mind. Some people can't do stuff they're bad at.
No, I agree.
But like I'm chasing that feeling when you start getting good at improv and you start to see it and you see the scaffolding and it's like the matrix and all of a sudden you're like, so
you're like, here come the green numbers.
I started playing rugby in college at 18. You know what I mean? Like I learned these things late in life. I do martial arts now in LA. I do Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee style, solely because I enjoy doing it. It's very hard. But I have a great rookie mindset. I'm okay being a rookie.
That's a great way to phrase it.
Yeah, I don't have that. And it's something that from being friends, like I envy it completely, especially when we would do stuff where we'd be put in situations like on the travel show or something. Because Gabrus, like you said, like, let me at it. I'm not scared to fail or whatever. And I want to be briefed. Like I want to know how to do it, and I don't want to look like a fool. And I feel like that is what has held me back in improv. Like that's one of the first things I had to let go of. What holds you back as an actor? It's like that's one of the first things I learned when I got on a set, and I learned how to like translate this energy. Is like, oh, you have to let this moment go because everything that's happening in this moment is out of your control. And people, like you could be in a dress on the GWB and people will be driving by yelling at you, but like they don't know what it's for, And so all that like letting go, ego killing kind of stuff is something that I am constantly battling. Is like, how do I approach this by not being the best? And I think that's why I took an improv break because I was like, I've never been the best at it. I know that, but I always liked doing it. And it's like, I'm
you were
good
very
enough.
good at it. But then in your head, if you're not
always
as good
underestimated yourself. You've always talked yourself down.
Well, in the game, but there's a reality to it. Like I like knowing where I am, and I feel like part of it was you start to lose faith in it when you don't need it anymore. You start to go like, well, it's just a thing I did, but you do need it, and I'm finding because it balances. It's like that equal reaction of being like, you're getting it in the moment that you're just as good as the next line, and like I think that's important to people.
I think what you're talking about with the UCB stuff, I always found that I thought everyone that was on an improviser at UCB when I was coming up could have gained a lot and learned a lot from having to try it out for sports at some point in their lives.
I think so.
Because that's where like a meritocracy is like at its most naked, I think. And you learn that being on the football team but only doing special teams and goal line offense or goal line defense is a part of the game. No one gives a fuck about you. The coach makes fun of you. No one on the team like respects you, but you're part of the football team and you need to learn the plays. And like, even if I suck, I like that I was part of the team. And so like, then I can bring that energy with me wherever I go and be like, it's okay. Because to me, it was like, also, I'm a child of the middle class 80s and 90s where it was like, you have to go do something. We're working. You have to like learn a sport. So I played everything and I always was fine at being bad at stuff. I was never good at a sport until rugby. And that's only because everyone was learning it at the first time at 18.
And what a good lesson for kids too. Like I wish like
this is a kid's podcast, right?
Yes, this is for children.
Yeah.
It's for fucking kids.
We have kids producing it. It's like a kind of thing.
It's like a reality show. You remember that reality show? It's like, can kids produce a podcast?
Yeah. They have to create a system of government.
Well, this isn't our idea. It was some 8-year-olds.
Yeah, if you're listening and watching this, then they succeeded. Then the reality show went well.
I also, I know this is not as health focused, but I just need this on record. And I don't know how aware you are of this, Gabrus, but Pally, you'll love this. So Dominic and I stuck with jiu-jitsu longest out of the 5 of us.
Yeah.
Jesse left first because he went so hard that he legitimately, do you remember this?
Tore his pec?
One of his pecs tore off.
Right.
Literally his pec separated from his body. It was like a bag
like
of
a spatchcock chicken.
It's so
Like
fucked
it
up
was
when
a
you see
bag
what
of blood hanging off his body.
You get like a bruise
sticky.
from your sternum to your bicep, more or less. It's disgusting.
Then Gabrus and Eli left in part because our friend Eli is what, 6'3"?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
dude.
And he's strong.
Yeah.
And Gabrus and Eli would show up in the same classes.
And you have to fight each other?
They didn't have to.
They would.
But we were similar sizes and the same skill level. So a coach's dream is like, well, then you two should square off. But we were friends, and we did not know what we were doing. There were moments where the coach had to come take Eli off of me because he's just got his
They would
forearm
have to
against
be separated in a gym where they were teaching you to fight. It was a gigantic basement space. When I tell you, people would be sparring, and there would very often be an entire quarter of the gym where everyone else cleared out to just let Gabrus and Eli
because we were not doing anything skilled. We were like street fighting without punching.
You guys, like, rolling around.
Dude, whatever you're thinking, for years after Gabrus and Eli left this gym, the Brazilian instructors would come up to me and they all called me Chris Boy, and they'd be like, Chris Boy, you're two friends who fought like the bears. Two alpha bears trying to kill each other. Who are those bear guys? And people would be like, what are you talking about? And they'd be like, Chris Boy brought these other comedians around. And they would make these noises we've never heard.
I got a distinct memory of Eli had my gi in one hand and his forearm just on my throat. Not a move at all. Up against the wall, which is something that only happens in an octagon. He had me up against the wall. And I'm like pushing him on, and we're
Adam, when I tell you, I would be in the fucking shower in a different room and would hear literally like
two unskilled guys yelling.
Red Hulk versus Green Hulk.
They would make Chewbacca noises and fight each other for hours.
It was like pro wrestling almost.
People asked me about it for 2 or 3 years
I
after they
imagine like
left.
people going to sign up and then be like, is that part of the...
I should say, I think one thing being unsaid here, not in a bad way, is that you finding Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too is something where it's not about brawn.
Right.
It's about like
skill.
mindset, skill, and tenacity, which are like 3 things that
was
you
the only thing I had. I had that as much as anyone in the gym.
But you
was like,
also have the desire to learn, like you know how they call it chess, like
dude,
whatever. It's like
I've entered tournaments. I've like gone to tournaments where there's hundreds and hundreds of people, and you walk out in the middle and fight another man.
One of the best things I've ever seen
that's
was a
Coliseum.
photo
That's
of you
Coliseum
in your non-gi, like in your rash guard, like blue long sleeve rash guard.
Yep.
Just seeing Gethard, and I'm like, homie's in a tournament,
Dude, I
R.I.P.
went fought you.
I thought it was a black and white photo on Instagram.
Dude, there was a guy I fought. The dude beat my ass. They keep points, and it was like 21-2 on the point. Like he thrashed me, but he came up to me afterwards and was like, dude, holy fucking shit. And I'm like, right, we were in it for different reasons. I can respect the fact that you do vertical push-ups and work really hard at this and are good. And you can respect the fact that I made you work your ass off for it more than you thought.
You have heart.
And we're both kind of accomplishing our goals there and where the bar is set. Now, that's also in an era of my life where I'm doing Sunday nights at UCB and I'm doing 3 nights a week at the Comedy Cellar, and I'm hosting a live talk show on True TV, which is a national platform, which no one saw coming from my public access show. Point being, like, all of those things are demonstrative of probably an obsessive desire I have to direct some bad parts of my personality, some maybe addictive parts, towards like, it's on you to keep yourself sharp.
But even like the
keep
Chris Gethard show is like, if you're comfortable letting a stranger choke you, you're probably going to be comfortable walking out going, what the fuck is the premise?
I remember once, and I won't name names because it would be unfair, but I had this talk show and it had a large cast. Adam did it a few times, and
I exercised on it for an hour straight.
You were always so great on the show.
Oh no,
great on the show.
I was one of my favorite bits because it really did. Like, first of all, my dad was impressed because he was like,
"You went hard.
Exercised
I'm
for
like
an
a
hour."
crazy step machine.
Yeah, I was on a step,
like
those
a climbing.
That's like what LeBron does in between sets. You know, for like a minute. I was on for like 15 straight, but like. It was great. It was chaos. It was like controlled chaos.
But it was also a little scary to walk onto live, right? Especially when we went to cable. Like
it's pushed to the limit, much like everything you do.
That's scratching some similar itch to like walking into jiu-jitsu and to walking out on stage and to telling these hyper personal stories on HBO or whatever. You know,
but also with my show too, it was like everybody at UCB has a phase where they're like, put me on like. SNL, all of us have to reckon with the day SNL doesn't want us. When you get good enough, at some point they will decide if they want you or not.
Of course. And if you're in New York,
I wrote there for 2 weeks was my version of it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty far.
I got so close.
I submitted an awful audition tape as requested, and I don't do impressions or anything or characters or even learn lines.
I always felt like with you, there was a very admirable quality, and I'm not trying to blow smoke. It doesn't get me anything, but where I'm like, there is a part of you that knows, like, if I go and crush this the way they want me to, maybe I'm the next Letterman someday.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I could get put in that slot. But I have learned over the years that there's a part of you that's like, I can't do it if I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I just got to get a tattoo.
If you think it's bullshit, I can't do it. I got to do it the way that tells me it's the right way to do it, even if I know they're going to cross me off the list for this thing.
For sure. And I think that's the other side of it. I mean, talk about balance, right? Like, I learned through UCB at a young age, like I was saying to you, is like, that's what makes me good.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has that thing
loved it
of like,
you.
That's what makes me good, is that I can do that. And a lot of people don't. Like, what's good about you is that you have that rookie attitude. What makes me good is that, like, I'll stick to it, I'll double down, I'll triple down if I like it. But if I don't like it, I'm like out.
Well, that's when your good taste comes into play.
Luckily, I have decent taste, so it like doesn't affect.
Being funny and
I think decent
taste.
morals also.
Yeah,
will,
you're
like,
not gonna, like,
I'm
hurt
not.
someone.
You know, it's like that. If I'm not going to hurt someone, and it's like that means a lot in your everyday life, and those things can be. If you're a good person, you try to be. You can pertain that to everything you do. Right.
See, and another thing, again, not to blow smoke, I also have many good things to say about John, and I hope I get a chance to.
He gets it a lot.
I'm fine.
But another thing that I always was so impressed by with Adam, and I just want to say it on public record because we don't get to see each other much or do it too much, is I have known a lot of people who have gotten very famous. You are one of the only ones I know. Like, I have seen it make people worse. I have seen it make people reclusive. That's always heartbreaking.
Make people's teeth white and straight.
You've seen it make people straight. But you know what I mean? Like, there are friends who I was intensely close with who don't answer a text anymore. And you go, oh, fame fried something in them and we can't connect anymore. And it's sad. I always was like, one of the things about you that, again, it ties into health, so I want to bring it up. I'm like, you're the only person I know that took it to the level you took it, where then consistently your morals you kept doubling down on your morals and being like, no. Like you just said, good person has to come first.
Yeah.
In a way that I've always really admired.
A strong, healthy sense of self is what you have too. Like, you know, you are a great actor who can play all different types, but you never ever feel inauthentic.
But it never fucking chewed you up and spat you out like it did some of our other friends.
I think luckily, and those are the sweetest things that I'm not equipped to, as equipped as I'd like to be, to take compliments like that, because I really do. It makes me feel great. But, you know, and this is not to downplay my career at all, but I've been lucky enough in my career to never have it go the way you think it's going to go. even
Right.
even if things are
Right,
going
right.
right, it's never quite that thing. And I think that that's lucky in a lot of ways because I've been around a lot of people that we know who from the moment they stepped on that, ship, it's been to outer space and it never slows down.
I don't
And
know if
think
this is
that's
the
why-
right terminology, but I think that makes people soft.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I think
you
even-
roll with the punches.
Yeah. I
Even
think
being
you-
successful, you've still had to like grind success.
You always
Yeah,
grind.
yeah.
You always grind. Yes, I'm really lucky, and I've been able to get stuff on the air and stuff. But that's a grind, and you get 1 year usually. I can't remember last
This is
time.
the King of the One Season
Yeah, I
show,
can't
which is
remember
a
last time.
huge success.
It's
to get one
amazing.
season.
It's
Yeah.
huge. But
Awesome.
it's all part of what you're saying. You are constantly humbled. And if you're not humbled by all this stuff, then something's up that you can't see it. If you can't and I think that's a really unhealthy part of this business too, which leads me to one of our last questions. I'm sorry if we've kept you here longer.
Oh no,
than,
I love it. I love getting to catch up with you guys.
I always looked at you as sober, even though you were unpredictable, you very good head on your shoulders. You knew
I tried.
You knew what was right and wrong and how to get there. It's sometimes
sometimes to
kill
my
someone.
detriment.
Yeah.
You might kill someone, but you
They
knew
probably deserve to die.
Exactly. Yeah, then they were ready.
If I ever
then they were ready.
I will say this: if I had ever flipped out and killed someone, at the very least, my friends would have been like, "Yeah, no, that's really fucked up."
Oh,
that
I would have
being
been what'd that guy do?
that being said, we all
Yeah.
kind of
That
knew
guy
that guy
kinda
had it
Yeah,
coming.
so I'd be well, yeah. But what do you do that's maybe a cheat? What do you do in your life that balances it out on the other side?
Yeah.
Where you're whether it's a Levain's cookie or a video game, what? Because we all have things that fill a hole differently, and what are some things that
So what do you do to treat yourself?
I have struggled with food in a way where I've realized, I have justified in my mind that because I don't drink and because I don't do drugs, that I can just pound insane food.
Right.
Bro, relatable men. The second I take time off drinking is when I'm ordering way more food.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
of course.
well, I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
There's workaholic tendencies in me that I've really had to battle back against, and that I'm not thrilled about,
So you get joy, when you're cooking on an idea, and I know you so you get obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And it's I got a good one here. That's joyous for you.
Yeah, but I've also, I don't know, it's so cheesy to say, but there's also truth where I'm now that I have a kid, I kind of don't give a shit about any of that.
Changes.
I just want to, I've always viewed myself as I'm a worker. When
Right.
I,
Blue collar.
and and you know where I grew
Livingston
up.
and West Orange.
like-
Yeah, that was always our bit.
Every, when the strikes come up, I'm never more
Yeah, you're motivated.
never more active than when I can hit a strike line, because I'm right, we're fucking workers. Let's go show them.
Yeah,
and I know that sounds pretentious, but it's real. The question is almost making me regret an aspect of myself, which is
I'm sorry.
No, in the sense of I wish, you guys know me, you guys are so kind. And we did come up in a way where when you're saying I was a mentor to your guys' generation, it means so much to me. But nobody would ever be Gethard was the life of the party back then. You know what I mean? I never have learned how to let my guard down in a way. So I think there's also some self-isolating tendencies or some go live in your own head and create a dialogue that's not totally rooted in what people are actually saying or thinking, or some self-pitying that I've always fallen into. I can sometimes look back at old stuff I did where I'm going off about the injustice of the world, and I'm I was scared and self-pitying, and that's not an appealing thing to see. So I think I sometimes almost, there's a part of me that's I wish that I trusted myself enough to just have a glass of wine and trust that it wouldn't bring out a demon in me.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think, if anything, I do think I have a good head on my shoulders and a good sense of ethics, but I also think that has at times made me sort of
stricter with yourself than you
and
was.
sort of closed off, and at times unable to. I often see people there are a lot of people who stayed close with each other who would say that I had a major impact on their lives, and we are not close.
Right. No,
And
I
that's-
know that feeling.
A lot of that's on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that feeling. Well, then there's also like, you know, you're a Knick fan. You like sports. It's like that on some level, that is, and we used to play basketball together. That is one of those things that as I've gotten older and it hurts to play basketball.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, that is a mourning of another kind too, where you're starting to like let go of those things.
Have you joined the old man game at the Y yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's the best.
It hurts. Like I played 3 weeks ago and it was bad.
I go to a Y where there's always like a court with the younger athletic guys.
And then you play with the old guys.
And then the court with the old guys. And like the first time, I always go with my buddy who lives down the block. And the first time that I was like, have fun, man, I'm going with the senior citizens. He was like, yeah, I knew this day would come. You know?
Yeah. I stopped in on my old LA game, which was just dad's like 3 weeks ago. And I got worked to the point where like, it was one of those things where I was sweating walking back, and I think I said to someone, God, I forgot how big the courts are. You know, it's like where you know,
regulation.
it's like, where you know you're getting, where you're like,
But for all Gabrus' craziness and your reputation as this like big bombastic guy, I've told many students, probably the only actually what I would say was technically perfect improv scene I've ever seen start to finish, this guy.
With who?
Fwand running a group game. It was the best.
Group game is the best technical.
Best group game I've ever seen.
Wow.
What was
the initiate? Did he initiate
I can
it?
tell you the whole thing. I've told so many students.
What was
Wait,
his
tell me,
initiative?
remind me, because I don't.
Gabrus walks out into the middle of the stage, and Fwand was this group that was known for just like take the
Experimental.
biggest fucking swing you
Yeah.
can and then get each other's backs,
Right.
everybody. And like, if it doesn't look right or feel right and the students don't know what they're looking at, great.
Yeah.
Like,
Done
so
for it.
dude, Gabrus steps out to the center of the stage and just goes and freezes. And because Fwand was really daring,
Yeah.
everybody else just freezes.
Now I'm remembering.
And they all like start glancing at Gabrus and he just stays still. But when you're teaching beginning improv, it's like, well, what if his move is stay still?
Stay still, yeah.
How do you say yes
do
to
you
it?
say and?
You
Yeah.
stay still too. How do you say and? You stay still more.
More of you stay
So
still.
how
Yeah.
do you stay still
all
more?
stay still, yeah.
You just keep doing it. And they just fucking stood there for way too long. And then it got, I'll never ever forget, it got this round of giggles where the whole crowd was like, oh, I guess they're just gonna like stand there forever. And they still didn't fucking move.
Love that.
And stayed there and it went silent again. And that's where I, as the coach in the room, was like, ooh, we're past the laughs. Like that's probably should have been quick. And then you edit out. No, Gabrus just fucking stood there. And I see them all like not even that hard, just like glancing over at Jon every now and then. And then everybody starts laughing again. And then the whole room just starts fucking clapping and doing that thing at UCB that would sometimes happen where they would stomp their feet on the rafters when it was really
we
good.
got to nail that down.
And it, dude, it just like built into this fucking thing that brought the house down. And then just as that was cresting, not the first one where I would have bailed and been like, cool, this is almost like a blackout. Like Gabrus waited it out. As that one's cresting, he goes, she's gone. And they all go, and the whole scene was just,
waiting for it.
this woman might see us. Everybody stay still.
Yeah.
It made no sense, but it was odd. Yeah, I remember
love
this.
it.
I sit there and I go, when you teach improv, you're like, part of UCB, why I think their system works is like, hey, get to the very first thing you need and then stop working hard and just keep milking the first thing.
Right.
So I'm like, the fact that you guys could find a thing, nobody said a word and nobody moved, and it heightened to the point where everybody's stomping and clapping and cheering, and then you put a button on it that was 3 words long and got an extended ovation for literally doing nothing. I'm like, I would argue that in many ways, I've never seen, and how many improv scenes have I done and watched over the years where I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen one that the fuel burned that efficiently.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like every single thing got burned to its maximum possible efficiency with 0 fat on it. Not an extra word, not an extra movement. Nobody twitched a fucking muscle that didn't need to be twitched.
That's crazy.
And you got a standing ovation for it. So everybody out there who's like, Jon's the big fucking crazy guy, who's always doing the crazy shit. It's like, well, I also saw him do something that was almost like the bonsai tree version of a group game in an improv scene.
Yeah.
So don't let this man fool you. He's also really fucking smart.
And wait till you see him take a flat chicken wing off the bone with no hands. Like a cartoon cat. But that's the duality. That's the balance. I think like that's the thing that we've really learned and talked about a lot here with you, Geth, is like, it's not all one thing. I mean, you're the guy who could, recite B.I.G. lyrics and Morrissey songs. And like, that is the duality, right? Like you want to
so
not
much of it
be
is
all
balance,
one
right?
thing.
Of like the big crazy guy is also really smart.
Yeah.
Like getting really famous, you got to make choices that
Alienate.
go with morals.
Yeah.
Even if they alienate. Like you're getting a lot of success and praise for it, go find some failure.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I think that's a real part of health.
So the way I'm going to look into this, I'm going to go back on stage again more.
I'm going to take this little double XL sticker off my sweater that I've accidentally left on. XL.
I didn't even tell you guys what my new thing I do for.
Please. This is the time then.
My new obsession, and it again, one of these things that brings some balance to my life is for the past 3 years, I've been volunteering and driving an ambulance in my town.
You did tell me this. Yes,
I'm obsessed with it.
Magnanimous.
But again, it's all balance. It's like I'm hyper focused on family. Like no, community as well.
But that's such a magnanimous thing.
Nuts.
Now, have you saved? How many lives have you saved? Like, can you count? Like, do you?
I had one neighbor who rang my doorbell, and we had picked her up. She lived 3 houses away from me, and she was like, "I went into emergency surgery. I would have died." And it's like crazy,
I mean, that's an amazing.
This touches on a lot of Gethard stuff too, because
I love it.
It's nice. It's a good
but
thing.
it's also weird.
But it's also weird, and it also lets you, and I would say even more important than it being weird, aka the author of Weird New Jersey, but also it lets you be around people who aren't comedians, who are locals,
and who need help.
But you love
that
world. You love that world of like, I met,
and you get to go into other people's houses. And
yes,
shit.
exactly.
Like, yeah, and be like, what the fuck's going on in here,
I mean,
man?
Gethard, you are truly like for the you know how young kids say like for the plot. You are for the plot in the positive way. Where it's like, that power can be used in darkness too, by like tanking something and making it. I've seen it, I've done it. But like you are for the plot in this way that is like positive, community, friendship, household. It's like
we
really
should talk
good.
about that on Nights of Our Lives. Of like, I think sometimes we're doing stuff to have the stories.
Of course,
you're like, this seems fucked up. Let me do it.
But if you go like, this is who I am, and have these instincts, you go, I'm built. Like I get scared because I'm like, kids like me now are built to get sucked into like 4chan and Reddit and like real dark corners of internet.
Could have been you.
That would have been me. And I was on like the early internet and was participating in some real weird stuff looking back on it. But it's so dangerous now where I'm like, I think there's something healthier about take that instinct and be like, what if you go sign up to fight UFC fighters instead? What if you
do jiu-jitsu? What if you drive an ambulance?
What if you get out into life? What if you
teach improv to people who are like maybe weren't able to come out of a shell? I mean, like a lot of that, Gethard. I mean, you're responsible for a lot of people's like kind of burgeoning awakenings in a lot of ways, whether it's physically saving their lives or mentally.
Well, with UCB too, we were there when it was still legitimately had some shades of counterculture. And I do look back and I'm like, my older brother taught me about punk rock and independent radio and underground comic books and fanzines. Like, so when I got there and met, there was John Bowie and Dynamo and Brian Husky, like they all came from the punk rock world too. And I was like, oh, there's the counterculture crossover here. Yeah. And I was happy because I straddled it. I was the youngest of the first generation and then kind of the big brother to the people after me. And I felt like looking back on it, I wasn't necessarily intentionally doing this, but I think a lot of the people after me, it had become a thing of like, you could get on SNL coming here. And I was one of the last people that was like, or
do you know? Have you heard of MNN?
or
you'll find your own voice and make something that you
I have a key to the theater. We can go do a secret show at 3:30 in the morning and not tell anyone we're doing it and just see who shows up.
We can roll General So's up in a pizza with the Thursday Night Brew crew.
Yeah, it's like, but
I was happy to maybe help some people
go.
Before you get famous, get good.
I really think you did, and those people may not be able to give you like the thanks, but
I'm not hung up on that.
We will.
No, you guys are very kind.
And thank you again for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And
what a joy.
We hope you come back and
we hope to see you again, just not while you're in the driver's seat of your ambulance and we're lying down in the back.
I mean, that's where I assume you'll see.
I went on a call a few weeks ago where a girl passed out, and when we got there, she was okay. She was very out of it, but she was in her. She was with her boyfriend in his parents' basement, home for winter break. They were college age. And we were like, dude, just tell us honestly what you guys were up to that made her pass out. And we thought it was drugs.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what you think. He's like, well, I'll be really honest. He was the sweetest kid. He's like, I'll be really honest. Like, we were having sex, and then right when we finished, she just passed out, and I don't know what happened. And I was like, oh, he fucked his girlfriend to death. Like, no, dude, she has an underlying condition. You're good, dude. Like, I promise you.
But for real, let that sit in your head however you want.
Yeah,
now that she's okay.
Dude.
I would have paid Eddie to be the other paramedic there and be like, yeah, dog.
My wife only passes out before sex.
It's crazy. She has this medical condition where as soon as I indicate I want sex, she gets woozy and falls
Chicken
down.
or egg, I don't know what happens for you.
Oh, dude, this is the best. Thanks
For
man.
coming on,
fun.
Gethard.
So fun.
That was so... Honestly, that was really heartwarming.
Yeah, it was very nostalgic for me, and hearing some old memories that I forgot about was really fun. Remembering taking Renzo Gracie's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu together was really interesting.
I really enjoyed talking to Gethard and just being kind of back in that space again. You forget sometimes that these people who maybe you don't see all the time, but we spent an intense amount of time together, and like it's nice to see him doing so well and be so balanced and to still be so funny.
And I think our big takeaway from talking to him is that idea of balance. Of just like, you can be this, but you don't. That doesn't have to be who you totally are.
Yeah.
You can be that, but that isn't necessarily the sum of all your parts.
Exactly, and I think especially in this space, so often it's like you're looked at or labeled as one thing, and like Gethard is a prime example of someone who's a lot of different things.
Yes, yeah, and it was cool to catch up. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Bye.
Yeah, even though we're not in Austin, Texas, we still try to videotape these.
Everything.
We have 2 porn stars coming on later that we're going to rate their body.
Oh, who's this?
Our wives are like, wait, what's your guys' show?